عليكم everyone. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على الرحمة المهداة محمد بن عبد الله. اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكيها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Brothers and sisters, Ramadan Mubarak first of all. Alhamdulillah, today is the 17th day of Ramadan. Today is the memory of the Battle of Badr. The Ramadan is a month of victories, Alhamdulillah. And I've been asked to speak about social and family matters. From the last time I was here, we spoke about happiness in the home, and unfortunately, as much as we want to be happy all the time, but there are occasions when there will be problems, and otherwise people like me will not be able to make a living. But alhamdulillah, I hope that overall we will have a happy, smooth life. However, having said that, let's look at the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this world. First of all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. We have created man in struggle. Okay? So life is a struggle. That's how it is. It's not going to be plain sailing. It is not laid in a red carpet. There will be problems, there will be obstacles, loved ones will die, you and others will get sick, you may lose your job, you may lose money, you may not succeed in your marriage. All these things are part and parcel of the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us and created the world and created the laws that govern how we relate to one another. In another verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَا أَيُّهَا الْإِنسَانُ إِنَّكَ كَادِحٌ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ كَدْحًا فَمُلَاقِيهِ. O man, you will struggle towards your Lord and you shall meet him. Some of us struggle in the way of Allah. Even in the way of Allah, it's a struggle. It's not easy to wake up for Fajr. It's not easy to give zakah and sadaqah. It's not easy to pray and to fast and to go to Hajj and to perform ibadah and to read the Quran. It requires discipline, it requires dedication, it requires sabr. Okay? And there might be a time when these things will become easy for you. Alhamdulillah, that's a blessing. لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. So, as I said, life is not plain sailing, and there are problems in life. Even the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had certain problems in his life, and I mean marriage problems, including the most famous, of course, the slandering of his wife Aisha radiallahu anha, and eventually he asked her to go to stay in her father's house. And one of the beautiful things that happened between the Prophet ﷺ and Aisha was that he told her, "Oh Aisha, I know when you're angry with me." The Prophet ﷺ is talking to Aisha, his wife, and he's saying to her, "I know, oh Aisha, when you are angry with me." You're angry with whom? With the Prophet. But she's angry with the Prophet not as a prophet, she's angry with him as a husband. Okay? And she said, "And how do you know that, O Messenger of Allah? فَذَاكَ أَبِي وَأُمِّي." How do you know that? And he said to her, when you are happy with me, you say, وَرَبُّ Muhammad, by the Lord of Muhammad. But when you're not happy with me, you say, وَرَبُّ Ibrahim, by the Lord of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So even between the Prophet and his wives, sometimes there are problems, and this is natural. So having problems at home, brothers and sisters, and at work, and throughout your life, is part of life. Okay? It is going to happen, and the thing is always to be in control, to be aware of how to deal with these problems, how to seek the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these problems. So this is the nature of thing. This is how it is. How do we deal with problems? We deal with problems, and I would like to introduce a hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that to me is very, very important, and it lays down the fundamentals upon which we can live our life and deal with problems, whatever they are. And this hadith is the following. The Prophet ﷺ said, whatever happens to a believer, whatever happens to him, is good for him. Okay? What we consider to be good and what we consider to be bad is good for a believer. Okay? Why? Because if he is given whatever he wants, given health, wealth, power, happiness, a good wife, good children, good job, he is grateful. Underline this. He is grateful. And since I'm going to talk about grateful, and it's a very important way of dealing with problems in our life, gratitude, let me tell you something. If I feel sick, feel there's something wrong with me, and then I went to the GP, and the GP said, oh, I think there is a problem, let's refer you to a specialist. So I go to the hospital, and they do some check, and then the specialists say, I think maybe you have cancer. Cancer. Death. You know, what's going to happen? Chemotherapy. Horrible. And I am worried. And then after further checks, and on the day I come and the doctor tells me, you have a clean bill of health, there is nothing wrong with you. I will immediately go down and make sujood shukr and say, thank you, Allah. If I lose my business or my job, okay, I'm told you are fired, and then next day they tell me, oh, it has been a mistake, sorry, come back, you've still got a job, okay, then I will make sujood shukr. The point I'm trying to say here is that when something horrible happens to you, okay, and then it's taken away or it is relieved, you feel the sense of gratitude. But how about when you wake up in the morning and you find that you're sleeping on a nice bed? Do you say Alhamdulillah? Do you have the sense of gratitude? That you have a house at home? How about coming to this place? You came to this place. Has anyone stopped you? Has anyone demanded, where are you going? Show me your ID. No, you can't go. This is a place of extremists and I don't know what. No. No one stopped us. There wasn't any checkpoint. We did not have to take permission to come here. We are free. That is a blessing. How about when you come home and your wife has cooked you some food and she has cleaned your clothes and she has taken care of your children, they're clean and they're smart and they're well dressed. Do you thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that? And this is a disease that is quite prevalent in our society. The disease of not showing gratitude and not being grateful to Allah. For the blessings that we take for granted. A few days ago, I wore some socks and there was a hole in one of them. And I said, okay, this is the time for me to part with my socks. Alas, that's it, I'm going to throw it away. And then I remembered my mother, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with her, when she used to sew the holes. Nowadays I don't see any socks that are sewed. I don't see them. And I made it a point in my mosque to look at the brothers to see if there's any toes coming out of socks or anything like that, and I haven't seen. Now I'm not saying that we should sew our holes in our socks, I'm not saying that, because that takes time and it's not worth it. But what I'm saying, alhamdulillah, do we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that? Do we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for our socks, for our shoes? When I look in the mirror, alhamdulillah, I have a mirror at home. Do I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when I open the fridge? Not just the food inside the fridge, but the fact that I've got a fridge. Am I grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that? So gratitude, okay, for all the blessings that we have is a very important part of how a believer deals with life, with all its ups and downs. Okay? So, whatever happens to a believer is good for him. If he is given, he is grateful. What if he isn't? And the Prophet ﷺ says, if he isn't, if he's denied health, denied wealth, denied children, wife, house, whatever, he is patient. Okay? He is patient. And patience is part of the way a believer deals with problems. If you fall sick, you go to the doctor. Tells you you've got a virus, here take some antibiotics. After 1 week, 10 days, it's gone, you're cured. But maybe he will also tell you you've got diabetes. No cure. No known cure. You have to live with it. You have to adapt your life in a way that, makes you enjoy life, but you have this thing that is hanging over, casting its shadow over your life. So you have to be patient, you have to accommodate it, you have to change your life so that sometimes we need to do that. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you a child that is disabled somehow, okay, alhamdulillah, you have to deal with it. You can't say, okay, there is a cure, there is no cure. Your child has got this problem, he's going to be disabled for life, and you're going to have to deal with it. Okay, khalas, you're patient, alhamdulillah, you live your life and you change your life so that it fits with this problem that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. So two things, between gratitude and patience. There is another thing when you marry, again another foundation between you and your wife, which should also include your children. I think it's also very important, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, He says that whenever two people marry, Allah gives them a gift, a small present. Okay? وَجَعَلْنَا بَيْنَهُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. Mercy and love, only love. Now, this gift from Allah is like a seed. It needs to be given the right environment. It needs to be given the right fertilizer. It needs to be given the right sunshine. Otherwise, it's going to die. And if you work on it, and if you provide the right atmosphere, then this relationship between you and your wife, and then your children, will become strong based on two things: love and mercy. Many people think that their relationship with their wife and their children should be based on fear. I don't know where do they get this from. The relationship of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, his wives and his children, is based on love and mercy. That's how it's based on. It's not based on fear. It's not based on anything else. There is genuine love here, and I'll come to it inshallah later on in my talk. But let me go back to how our life at home, including the problems that we face, are part and parcel of why we have been created and placed on earth in the first place. Everything in our life should be dealt with this in mind. Why am I here in the first place? And the answer is, I am here to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I am here to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whatever happens to me, good or bad, is from Allah, and I have to accept it and deal with it accordingly, based on if I am given gratitude, if I am denied sabr and patience. Okay? So whenever something happens that is not to my liking, I need to ask myself a question. Why has it happened to me? I wake up this morning, I want to start the car, go to my work, I'm a little bit late, the car wouldn't start. Why? I come home late in the evening and my wife starts shouting at me. Why? Okay. I invested some money and I've lost the money. Why? Okay? Because everything is connected. There is no accidents or potluck or mistakes. Everything are interlinked. We may not see the link, but it is there nevertheless. And therefore, if my life, including my marriage, my children, my work, my study, everything about me, is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, لَيْسَ بِأَمَانِيِّكُمْ وَلَا أَمَانِ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ مَنْ يَعْمَلْ سُوءًا يُجْزَى بِهِ. It's a scary verse. It's not your wishful thinking, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. It's not your wishful thinking. Nor is it the wishful thinking of the people of the book. Whoever does wrong will be punished for it. Full stop. Whatever you commit, whatever wrong you do, you shall be punished for it now on earth. Okay? Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, he said, who, O Messenger of Allah, amongst us does not commit a mistake? And the Prophet, of course, Abu Bakr thought that the punishment is in the hereafter. And the Prophet ﷺ said to him, no, it's when you fall sick, when you trip on a stone, when you put, for example, a bundle of money in your right pocket, and then you look for it in your left pocket and your heart misses a beat because you can't find it, that's because of something you've done. And therefore, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, he says, by Allah, I see the sin I commit, and I want you to imagine what sort of sin Abu Bakr as-Siddiq commits. Okay? I see the sin I commit in the way my wife treats me. So don't blame your wife next time she shouts at you. Don't blame her. Blame yourself. You've done something wrong. You deserve this. This sensitivity, okay? What have I done wrong? Have I done wrong? Have I made a mistake? Is that why we're having this problem in my house? Sister, have you done something wrong? Okay? And also, it is a matter of responsibility. Some of the problems that you will face in your home stem from the fact that you do not carry out your responsibilities. For example, you are the head of the family. As a man, Allah gave you that responsibility. Maybe your wife is better than you. It's not about who's better. It's about that you are the responsible, you are a Rabb al-Usra, the Lord of the family. Okay? And a clever man will look at his wife and see where she is good at. Well, she's good in this thing, she's good at cooking, for example. You may be better than her in cooking. Wow, it doesn't matter. If she's better in cooking, then leave the cooking to her. Don't interfere there. Okay? She's good in economy. She knows how to save. Leave the matter to her. She's good at this, she's good at that, you're not good at it, you leave it to her. But you are responsible, overall responsible at the end. Okay? And therefore, when your wife takes over your responsibility because you cannot say no, you can't stand up to her, then we're going to have an upside down relationship and we're going to have problems. And I have seen many problems. Young people who end up divorcing themselves because of the mother-in-law. Where's the father-in-law? He doesn't want to see, he doesn't want to hear. He allows his wife, the mother-in-law, to rule the roost. Because over the years, with all the nagging and all, he has learned to be quiet. I see this a lot, wallahi, in our community. Okay? Whatever your wife, brothers, whatever your wives do, you're responsible. Even if you let them. Okay? So if your wife makes a decision and you don't say no to her, you cannot say later on, well, it's my wife who made the decision. It's not me. No, it's you. You're responsible. Because you're the head of the family. Okay? So many of the problems that happen in our life is because you do not take your proper place within the hierarchy of the family. This does not mean you become a dictator or a tyrant and everything must go through you. No, no, no. Delegate. But delegate where it is, you know, she's good at. She's good at this, you do it. Khalas. You know better than me in this matter. For example, socially and culture and, you know, I'm not very good. I leave this to my wife. What do we take for the wedding? I don't know, my wife. You decide. I don't know these matters. Okay. I have a child, alhamdulillah, what are we going to name him? My wife carried him for 9 months. She gave, you know, she had a lot of problems giving birth to him. What do you want to name him, my wife? I want to name him Muhammad, Ali, Abdullah. Provided the name is okay, khalas, let her. No problem. We're going to buy some furniture. What color do you want, wife? Doesn't matter to me. What shall we paint the color of the living room? Who cares? Let her choose. Okay? But if something important comes that is going to have an impact on my family, it must be approved by me. Okay? This way, the rules are set. This way, everyone knows his place within the family. But remember that the relationship that ties us together is love, not fear. Love, not fear. And therefore, we have to learn, and this is an important element of overcoming problems or lessening them. We have to learn to increase this love between us. How do we increase the love between us? Well, how do we increase the love between brothers? Okay? The Prophet ﷺ, for example, says, Tahabu, Tahadu, Tahabu. This is general for everyone. Give gifts to one another and you will love one another. Learn to give gifts to your wife. Have you ever brought a gift? Some brothers have never brought a gift to their wife's house. When they married, that's it, finished. After marriage, she has never seen any gift from you. Oh, and if you travel, and this is the sunnah, by the way, if you travel, if you go on a travel, you go to Pakistan, or you go to Hajj, or you go Umrah, or wherever, to Germany for some business, and then you come home, okay, you should bring something with you for the wife and for the children. Some sweets, maybe, some perfume for the wife, something like that. Okay? And your wife should also give you a gift. Okay? Maybe on the occasion of your birthday. Is birthday bid'ah? Is it sunnah? Is it haram? Is it... It is not a religious thing. Birthdays are not religious. Okay? So if you don't have candles on a cake and blow them and have a wish, then it's not haram. It's when you introduce religious stuff from other religions, okay, which you're not supposed to do, not just for your birthday, but for all your life. Okay? So if you on your birthday, you took your wife and went out and had a meal, and she gave you a gift, nothing wrong with that. Okay? The other thing is to smile in the face of your wife. Smile, ya akhi. Be happy. Let her know that you're happy with her. An important element is always tell her that you love her, even if you don't. This is one time you can lie. Seriously, I'm not joking. This is hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? You tell your wife you love her, even if she's 60 years old. Doesn't matter. She's a human being. And sister, you tell your husband that you love him. Again, even if you don't. Works both ways. Okay? And this brings me to another element. And that is the element of praise. And, praise your wife. Yani, she will make mistakes. If she cooked you a food and it was too salty, or it was there was less salt than there should be, or it was burnt, or it was too spicy, or less spicy in it, she's a human being. Okay? Say, Jazakallahu khairan, thank you, MashaAllah, what a very lovely meal. Alhamdulillah, many people around the world cannot find this meal. Thank you, wife, for cooking it, for taking the time, for standing in the kitchen, for, for the effort that you have made. And being grateful to what people do to us is the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. one of the sad cases, and I think I told you about it before, is this woman who came to me. I know her very well. She was, what, 52, 53 years old. And she said, I want divorce. And I thought, woman, you're 52 years old. Can't you wait for a few more years? And she said, I've been married for over 30-something years, 35, I can't remember now. I haven't heard a good word from my husband in those years. Not one. As human beings, we all have goodness in us and badness. Some people have more badness in them than goodness, but still they must have goodness. If I made an exercise with you now, and I told you, think of the worst human being you know. I want you to do it. Think of someone you think is a really bad human being. I may think of Gaddafi, for example. And then think of something good they've done. This bad person, think of what good he has done, and you will find that he has done some good. So for you to live with a woman, okay, and always criticize her, always insult her, you're good for nothing, you're useless, you're stupid, you're this, you're that, okay? And you don't praise her, not one good word. When you need her most, she's going to kick you, as happened in this case. He got sick, terminally sick. And she said, I stayed with him at the beginning in the hope that he would change. And then I stayed with him for the sake of our children. And now our children are grown up. And he needs care and he's terminally ill. Okay, now you should stay with him more. She said, I don't mind staying with him and serving him. But he still doesn't say one single good word. And I'm not going to tolerate any bad words from him anymore. Enough is enough. What a sad story. What a wasted life. Okay? We need to praise, even when they make a mistake. Even when she makes a mistake, even if it's a big mistake. And of course, the house or the home is not just about your wife, it's about your children. How many of us, you find out that your son smokes and you throw him out on the street? Just smoke. Or he came late. Or can happen, drugs. Or. We're living in this society. You throw them out. When you throw them out, where are they going to go? Where? They're going to go deeper and deeper into sin and into problems. Yusuf alayhi salam, remember Yusuf? No? Yusuf, who his 11 brothers plotted to kill him and then put him in a well. And their father Yaqub, the son of Ishaq, the son of Ibrahim alayhim salam jami'an, he knew what they did. Did he throw them out of the house? No. He didn't throw them out of the house. He kept them near him and close to him in the hope that they would repent, in the hope that they will seek forgiveness. Our children will make mistakes, so we need to be there for them, because that's when they need us most. When do our children need us? When they're having problems. This includes mistakes, this includes boyfriend, girlfriend, these problems of the society around us. Okay? 10 minutes. So, these are the way we deal with these problems. First of all, we are grateful when things are working, and we are patient when things are not. Another point is that we tend to judge what happens to us. What does this mean? It means that, let's say, I want to marry X, and I want this job, and I want a lot of things. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants other things. So, who's going to have his wants happen? It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? So if what I want is not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, it's not going to happen. And if what I want is not going to happen, how do I relate to it? Okay? A man once came to me, he said to me, Abu Sondes, I have committed all the sins under the sun you can think of. I was a really bad lot. But alhamdulillah, I repented. And I sought the forgiveness of Allah. And now I want to put my life straight. I want to marry so-and-so, and I want this, and I want that. And I pray to Allah, but it's not happening. Why is it not happening? And I said to him, why don't you accept what Allah chooses for you? If you don't marry X, you don't marry X. Accept it. Move on. Okay? If you want this but it doesn't happen, accept it and move on. Accept whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses for you. Okay? I wish I had more time because I wanted to talk about in further details, maybe some other time, on the problems that we can actually face in our life. Romance, very important. Communication, do we talk with one another? Many families, many husbands and wives don't talk with one another. That's the problem. And sometimes it's because they choose the wrong time. The wife is at home, she's dealing with problems, okay, she's having problems, the children have done this, that. The husband, he's at work, okay, he comes home, he's tired, he's, doesn't want to hear anything. The wife has been waiting for him so that she can bombard him with 10,000 words a minute, okay. He gets angry, starts shouting, they start fighting. It's a mess. How do we talk? How do we communicate? We choose the right time. Okay? There are techniques that we can use on choosing the right time. Living with in-laws, and this is a problem in our community. I say to the fathers, when your son gets married, kick him out. Don't let him stay with you. The fathers, when your son marries, out. You want to get married, you start your own nest. I can't wait for my youngest one to get out. If you're a son, don't marry and take your wife to your parents' house. Unless, of course, they need you. Unless, of course, there is a genuine need. Your father is disabled, your mother is disabled, there's no one to take care of her, maybe. Okay? But if that is not the case, then don't live with your parents. Especially the first few years. Big problem. Building memories, spending quality time together. Many brothers at the beginning of their life, they work very hard. They have a job and they have a business, and then suddenly they wake up and their children are grown. And I told you about this good friend of mine who told me that he had a man living in his house that he didn't know, referring to his own son. Yes, if you work and work and work and work, and then come home just to sleep, okay, then one day you're going to meet someone, and you say, where did this man come from? He's your son. She is your daughter. They have memories together, but you were not part of it. Okay? And so on and so forth. Inshallah, I'll stop here, see if you've got any questions. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring happiness to our lives and lessen our problems and enable us to overcome the problems of life if and when they happen.